All right, we are back here on Around 10. Like we mentioned before, Pete Combs is here. He is the new Western Hills High School football coach. Good morning, Mr. Combs.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We were chatting with you a little bit before we went live here. That you were part of Coach Vanderpool's staff, right?
Yes, sir.
Coming in,
yes,
and
sir.
so now you're the head coach of Western Hills football. How does it feel? You looking forward to the season?
Yeah, I mean, really excited about the opportunity. I think that we have a good core of guys coming back, although, we graduated quite a bit. So,
Sure.
I mean, it's still going to be one of those situations to where we're trying to get some young guys, get that experience, and just continue on some of the things that we've sort of started a couple years ago.
A lot of the impression I get from high school coaches is that a lot of the work is done in the middle school. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
you really
sir.
got to build that pipeline and get
Yes, sir.
folks ready so that they're not showing up. You can't start as a ninth grader and,
Right.
and figure it out. So,
Right.
do you have ideas for how to handle that, or are those things that you guys put in place as a staff a couple years ago?
Sure. Well, fortunately, we have a good relationship with Coach Kenny Atha. He's taken over for our middle school program there at Bondurant.
Mm-hmm.
He's done an exceptional job. Came in first year, really came in and sort of set the tone for those guys coming up in the high school ranks. We're still on, I guess, dealing with trying to get our youth established over here on the west side. But, one of those things is just making sure that we got all hands on deck. I think it's one of those situations where it takes a community. And I think, our guys have been, people around have been really responsive and receptive to it. So, we've got some things in store.
Coach, getting outside of football a little bit, tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of brought you to, or how long
Sure.
you've been in Frankfort?
Sure. So originally I'm a Hazard native, 606 guy, and moved up to Georgetown. So I've been in Georgetown probably, I'd say about 12 years, and still actually live there, but,
Yeah.
it's a short commute here to Frankfort.
Yeah, that's just right down the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sort of got my feet wet, coaching at Great Crossing. Was really a great experience there. That's where I sort of met Coach Vanderpool, and we established a relationship. Coached there for 4 years, and he ended up going into his fourth year, he took a job there in North Laurel. So he was defensive coordinator there and applied for the head coach position here and ended up coming up. And, with the relationship that he and I already had established, he asked me to come along. And so, I jumped at the opportunity, was excited about coming up here and getting things started. In that time, he had taken a position now. He's going to another high school, and I think he's going to Trinity, and that's really I'm super happy for him, excited.
Yeah.
But I wanted to continue coaching at Western Hills, and the opportunity presented itself, and with the help of a lot of people, administration, and the grace of God, I was able to be put in a position.
What was your apologize for not knowing, what was your role on the staff last year?
Oh, so last year, I was a co-defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Also our Froshmore head coach. So our Froshmore is a little mix of our freshman and sophomore football team.
So you know the young guys really well,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So that's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
How does it? This is always interesting to me when folks transition from sort of coordinator to head coach. How do you think you'll continue to have your fingers on the defensive side, or is it really shift to you're just like the CEO and you got to let other guys do their thing?
Well, the thing about it is I'm a defensive guy, so I'm still going to have my fingers, have my hands on the defense as serving as defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to still have an influence on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, everybody's got a different strategy for how, even we talk about Kentucky and Coach Stoops, he's the head coach, but the team sort of takes on his personality, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you anticipate that kind of thing taking place? at Western Hills?
I think, and the thing about it is most of our varsity staff this year is going to be those guys that was on our Froshmore team last year that I was the head coach of. And those guys came in, and we actually had a really great season. We ended up going 7-3. We play in a Froshmore conference to where, it's not just playing an empty schedule. Those guys are competing for a conference championship and those things as well. And we were fortunate enough to place fourth in the conference, our first year in it. I think we're definitely going to have that blue collar mentality. We're going to bring our lunch pail to work every day and just continue on building on the things that we've established for the past 2 years.
You guys lost a big star, Javion Campbell's moving on to UK. And obviously you've had a lot of Wandale Robinson's had a lot of
Yes.
success. Does that help having those guys that sort of high visibility and people being aware of them and be like, hey, Western Hills is the place for football?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think it's been really great for the program as a whole. Now, like you said, eyes are focused on Western Hills now. And I think the guys have really bought into that concept, and they really have came to it and started to thrive in it. Any exposure and all those things, giving them the opportunities to get their name out there. And, those guys, Javion, Wandale, have really been great ambassadors for our program. Wandale came back and, sat around with our guys before a game last year. Actually, I'm sorry, a couple of years ago, and really got in the locker room and shook hands and took some photos and things like that. And so, it's been really good for us.
And then with Javion, he'll be on Saturdays next year, and he's just right down the road there in Lexington too. So it's just a really good highlight and spotlight on the Western Hills program at large. Coach, we're happy to have you here today too. What sort of support would you say that maybe you like or you might need from the community going forward with the
whether
with
it's
the
the
season
summer
ahead,
or
whether it's the
into
summer,
the
you got
season,
any kind of events coming up? And things to look forward to?
We actually are finishing up our mulch sale. So we had a mulch sale as a fundraiser, and our guys offered the opportunity to come out and spread the mulch that we do sell. So I think it's a great way for our guys to give back to the community and sort of interact with the people that's around, because at the end of the day, we're asking them to come out on Friday night, support us. And so this is our way of giving back to them and making those, those connections. And we do have our youth league football camp coming up. And I think, I'm really excited about that. Our numbers continue to grow with that. We're going into our third year. And so really been out trying to get around to all of our elementary schools and get those flyers out to those kids and letting them know and they could be involved, So, recently had taken a couple players over to Bridgeport and had them read to a kindergarten class, which I thought was really, really good. And the crazy thing about it was I was at one of my son's middle school baseball games, and one of the kids came up to me and said, hey, didn't you come and read my kindergarten class? So, things like that just goes a long way. Just any way that we can give back and sort of pay it forward to our community, we're always seeking those opportunities.
And because you're not just molding these young men into football players, but also members of society and the community. And I think that's something that's great work.
And so one of our things has been, ever since Coach Vanderpool and I came in, we've been on the mantra of building better men. And what that means to us is, we're wanting to build better husbands one day, better fathers one day, just better all around individuals. And we have a character ed program to where we instill values such as, courage, respect, empathy, accountability, and those words and those things are great attributes to carry on into their everyday life, just outside of football and just what that composes for them as far as being young men.
Can I have you to step outside football for just a second? We'll talk sports.
Sure.
What other sort of sports are you into, or do you have any other teams that you kind of cheer for?
I guess I've been a Browns fan for as far as I can remember, and really still dealing with that. Just, I don't know.
Every year is a new adventure, right?
Yes. So I still, and the crazy thing about that is my wife. God bless her heart. She granted me with some tickets, and we went and watched the Browns game. So that's always been something.
That's so cool.
Yeah. She came up with that, and we went and watched the Bengals and the Browns last year.
Nice.
So that was always something I had on my bucket list, and I'm really excited about that. And like I mentioned, my son's got into playing baseball, so he's playing Bondurant baseball, and I'm starting to learn a little bit about the game. Still that dad that wants to have that information and feedback to give to him, although I don't know a whole lot about it, but I figure if I sit around and watch a little bit of it, I can give him some tips every now and then.
Yeah, and then the baseball MLB season, right? Just started.
Yesterday. The Reds maybe be good this year. They certainly have one of the best players in baseball in Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, that's right.
Might be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Yankees fan when it comes to that, so I've always been a Yankees fan, and I think we had a pretty good showing for opening day.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointed about our ace going down and having surgery, so sucks that he's going to miss the whole season, but
Yeah.
you know, I think you know, we got guys like Justice and Judge.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have those guys, and I think you know we're still going to be somewhere around the mix when it comes World Series time.
Oh yeah, you can. I feel like you can never count out the Yankees.
Yes, sir.
When especially
Yes, sir.
early in the season. Coach, are you going to be watching any basketball this weekend?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I bleed blue. You know, we're going to be up watching the Cats tonight.
All right.
Hopefully, we can make it 3 in a row. I know a lot of people, you know, say it's hard to beat the team 3 times in a row, but you know, I mean, Kentucky, if anybody can do it, I think UK can.
Well, and maybe I'm just trying to justify it in my mind, but I feel like if anything, that should show that it's a good matchup. You know what I mean? If you've beaten them twice, then it should be the other way around. Like it's hard to beat a team after you've lost twice to them.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Sir.
But it's been fun.
Coach, do you have any answers for our question of the day today about aviation, or if there's a plane that you had in mind that you would want to fly?
You know, I was thinking about that, and I think if it was a plane that I was able to fly, it would definitely be a stealth bomber. You know, the B-52. I've always found that intriguing, and
the design of it. So cool.
Yes, sir. So if I had the opportunity to fly one, that would be what I'd like to fly.
Cool.
Awesome. That's a good answer. Coach, we're excited to have you here today, and we're so glad to be able to meet you and have you introduce yourself to the community, and we're excited about the football season ahead. Maybe we can have you back on just before the season starts.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Love to do it. Love to do it.
And good luck throughout the summer, and good luck when the season actually does start. But so glad to have you here today, and it's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.